Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
Spotify now a marketing agency. Why Billboard changed the rules. Warner copies Hybe. I feel like Spotify always been a marketing agency.
In 1999, the US
Why
recorded
say
music
that?
market was worth
Cause I mean
Spotify's what's their slogan? Space for music.
that's their slogan.
I'm
Oh,
asking.
I don't know their slogan. No, because they gotta make money, right? How else they make money? By marketing. Because they're not a charity, right?
At one point, they were a charity because they weren't making any profit.
Right. That somebody
That's a
said.
charity.
That somebody said. You know
That's a
what? We gotta
charity.
turn this ship around. So yes, you're right. The moment they decided to go from non-profit to profit, that's when they started being a marketing agency.
$21.9 billion. In 2024, it reached $29.6 billion. On paper, that looks like growth until you account for inflation. Adjusted to 1999 dollars, the 2024 figure is worth 15.4 billion US dollars, meaning the US music industry has lost nearly 30% of its real value over the past 25 years. At the same time,
So
the
it's still a
global
charity.
balance
No, it's not. It's just saying the music industry. Well, but we know that too. We see the artists. They're saying the musicians they don't make much money nowadays. We've seen artists been complaining about that, and it makes sense, right? Because back in the day, people bought CDs. Now people stream for
And there used
free.
to be a lot of gatekeepers,
What do you mean?
like to get your music out there. And if your music is out there, that means you've been picked. So you've been picked, and you're gonna be promoted.
Fair. Back then, yeah, like you had to get picked. Nowadays, you can make it off social media. Essentially, what BTS did, right? They didn't get picked. They made it through social media. So, yeah, that is true.
And also, BTS was able to change the GDP of their country
Right. Yeah.
with their effects. So how come here in the States is not, you don't have that same impact aside from, like, I guess Taylor Swift or recently goes to.
Well, because for the same reason, like what Taylor Swift and BTS do, they sell a lot of merch. I
So it
guess.
becomes a merchant industry.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's about merch. Yeah, because music doesn't make as much money as touring does. Tours make money. I'm talking more about like the sale, like the making music. Because even what J. Cole said, you better never stop touring. Because when the moment you stop touring is you go broke. So
I think it's a lost art of people wanting to tour too, because it doesn't seem like it's a desirable thing to do. Even back
it's
then, by
hard.
the greats, it's not something that it's like desirable to do because they have to work a lot. But it's really the machine that's making a lot from what they're doing on tours. So when you have like Cardi B says that, oh, I'm not going on tour, but she dropped an album and never first album never went on tour for that album, and you have artists picking and say they're not going on tour for X, Y, and Z, then that's problematic for the music industry.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
touring is hard, but
yeah. And also mental health issues, because I think some don't go on tours because of mental health issues too as well.
yeah.
of power has shifted.
Britney was forced
Artists
to do
across
tours.
Asia,
But
Latin
yeah, because that's how you make money. That's so you have to.
America, and Europe are building thriving ecosystems at home. K-pop, J-pop, Mando pop, and Latin urban music are commanding massive local markets, with many of their acts now crossing over to North America on their own terms. BTS, Peso Pluma, Fujikaze, and even newer groups like Le Sserafim are proving that you no longer need to be American to dominate global charts. Faced with stagnant growth and the rise of self sufficient foreign markets, the big three US labels, Universal, Warner, Sony, and
Fujikaze,
gatekeepers like Billboard and
he's
Spotify,
major
are quietly
here.
redrawing the rules
In the
to
States,
put
no.
more barriers
In
between the
Japan,
US
I'm sure he
market
is.
and foreign acts. In the following sections, we'll unpack how each of these players, Universal, Spotify, Billboard, and Warner, are implementing systems that protect the market share while raising the barrier of entry for foreign acts trying to penetrate the US market, including BTS and other K pop groups preparing for the next American era.
This isn't a laptop launch. This is a you launch.
First, Spotify seems to be evolving into a marketing platform. After years of losses, Spotify finally reported gains, and they did it by throwing out objectivity in the window. While they still continue to stream music, sure, but they found their goal by being a marketing agency. Here are some marketing programs they now offer. Spotify's official campaign.
That's the thing. he's saying it as if it's a bad thing, you know. But I think what people have to realize, being unprofitable is not sustainable. Eventually, the cash is going to run out and nobody's going to fund you. So, do we as collective people want music at the, $10 a month? Or do we not want to have that option and we just want Spotify to go bankrupt and we are forced to buy CDs again? It's not a bad thing they're doing this. This is by them doing that, it allows us to enjoy the $10 a month, or there is even Spotify free, I think, music. That's just is what it is. Like I
I
love
think that's them accomplishing their goal that why they initially started.
yeah, it's a business. Like you can't get mad at them that oh they're not being fair. Well, no, they're not being fair. They're a business. They're not here for fairness. They're here to make money. At the end of the day, they have their shareholders they're accountable to.
Do you think that there can exist a company that could undercut and do what Spotify does? Because I'm trying to understand how they're able to continue to do this and not turning a profit.
Funding. People
Yeah.
kept pouring money into it because they believed in
Yeah,
it.
believe in it. But do you think another company can do the same thing and pop out?
Well, Tidal tried and didn't go nowhere. Apple
They
Music
have
is
funding though.
Tidal. Yeah, but didn't go nowhere.
They have funding and allegiance from artists pledging that all their music will
I
go
I,
directly
under,
to Tidal.
I remember,
Yeah,
but
just recapping.
oh, okay, yeah, but it didn't go nowhere. There is Amazon Music, there's Apple Music, but both of them have such huge names behind them that Amazon, Apple, that they don't have to be profitable on those platforms necessarily. Spotify as a
I
standalone.
think Apple can be profitable because I can imagine to utilize you have to pay $1.99 each time you want a song.
No, but I think Apple Music has the.
It's different. It's not.
I
It's
think
not
it has
iTunes.
like.
iTunes and Apple Music not the same thing.
I think it offers both. I think you can
Oh.
so you have subscription for free music, but you can also buy music.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember at one point we did have Apple Music, and
I don't remember. It was too
we
complicated.
had a
the
lot of different
interface.
platforms. We had Apple Music, Amazon Music. Uh, I don't know if we had Pandora. I
I
don't.
had Pandora. I had the free one.
No, but I'm talking about subscription. I don't think we had that one. But yeah, we had Amazon, we had Apple, Spotify. Now we have YouTube
Spotify has
Music.
been was the nice had a nice interface. YouTube Music is still I'm still getting used to it.
I don't mind it. It's fine.
I'm a little annoyed because if I want to add a song to play next, I have to play. It does this weird thing like it's the next song, even though I already had like an order. So I have to be mindful to work backwards in how I set my music.
Oh, okay.
Kit bundles.
Unless you can
If
show me
you opt into
otherwise.
this service, Spotify will pitch your songs to playlists, many of which they also own, like today's top hits, the biggest playlist in Spotify. You also get recommended more. They claim you will only get recommended to people that listen to songs similar to yours.
It's not even
There's also
Spotify. It's
standard ads like
pretty.
Marquee or full screen sponsored recommendations and showcase banner placements on home. All are natively managed in Spotify for artists, and each nudges attention towards whoever is playing and performing inside Spotify's system.
But
This is
honestly,
great for
I
targeted reach,
think
but it
that
blurs the
it being
editorial.
called Spotify and not Spotify works in his favor because I do not believe an app that's used a lot here in the West would be permissible to be from another country outside the United States like they did with TikTok.
What are you talking about?
Because
What does it
Spotify
have to do
is
with the
not
name?
is no because association TikTok is owned by China.
And Spotify is owned by Swedish.
Exactly.
So-
But the thing is popular in the West. TikTok
Right.
was popular in the West. Spotify is popular in the West. However, we see that there's some sort of scare that, oh, TikTok association connection to China. Here, Spotify, I just found out it was from
No, but
Sweden.
I think the issue is that China is like an enemy of the States. Sweden is not.
Mm-hmm.
So like if TikTok was owned by the Japanese, it wouldn't be a problem. It's because it
Well,
is
I don't know.
Chinese. That is the
I
problem.
need to see, do you know an app that operates here in the West that's popular from Japan? I don't think so.
I don't know. Pokemon Go. I don't know. Pokemon is Nintendo's
I don't
property,
know.
which is I think it's Nintendo. I think it's Japanese property, so I think the app has to be Japanese. I don't know. I don't know.
Real versus paid line that charts and press still
I
treat
remember they
as
were
neutral
regulating that
listening.
too because
Spotify
they say
also announced
this was dangerous because it led to so many deaths and they were trying to regulate that.
Right, but that's like a legit concern, though.
Announced a video podcast distribution tie up with Netflix. They said that this is going to start in 2026. While that's a podcast first thing, it signals a broader distribution mindset. Spotify will syndicate high attention formats off platform if it grows the pie. Expect more creator centric monetization that favors those plugged into Spotify's marketing rails. So, how is this going to affect foreign acts? US velocity now often requires a paid layer on Spotify at strategic moments. If you ignore Campaign Kit while your US competitors fund it, you're playing uphill. Billboard tightens Hot 100 recurrency rules. Effective with charts dated October 25, Billboard added new age caps to flush slow decliners. If you have been in the charts for more than 20 weeks and you are below 50, you're out. If you are at number 25 or below after 26 weeks, you're out. If you've been in the charts for 52 weeks and you are below top 10, you're out. If you've been in the charts for 78 weeks and you are below number 5, you're out. But the bigger question is why? Well, number one, to keep charts looking dynamic.
With the Verizon
The
Visa
answer
card,
is
you get up to $200 cash back
because
as an
Teddy Swims have been on that chart for over 2
Oh, did
years.
you address this?
Yeah, we're talking about this is so because this channel a lot complains. Oh, they do this for BTS, BTS, BTS. Well, here's a perfect example. It's not about
Maybe
BTS.
they're outside the BTS bubble.
Yeah.
It's not
Teddy
the
Swims,
bubble.
Benson Boone's Beautiful Things. I don't know exactly how long Benson Boone is. We're gonna do the reaction today, but I don't remember right now the number off the top of my head. Teddy Swims, there's over 2 years right now. Is about 111 weeks or so. And not only is 111 weeks, that motherfucker's probably in still like top 15. At Taylor's gonna have to go down a little bit, so he's probably gonna bounce back to top 15, but I think he's gonna be out. So this was made to drop. This is at that one person, Teddy Swims, honestly, and maybe Benson Boone, Beautiful Things, but to me it just shows that it's not about BTS because a lot of times like these channels, K-pop channels, they assume it's about BTS, it's about this, it's targeted. It might be targeted, but it's not because they're Asian or because they're anything. It's targeted because that's not what people want. Because ain't nobody trying to hear. I ain't trying to hear Teddy Swims lose control every week. We react to that. Like it's come on, it's boring. Like that song is boring. It's been 2 years. Okay, that's good. Move on. Like I don't have no problem with these rules. Keep the charts fresh. It's great.
Billboard Hot 100 and Billboard 200 have both been plugged with long running titles like Blinding Lights, Levitating, often blocking new entries from gaining visibility. By tightening the rules, Billboard ensures that charts appear fresh and fast moving, which makes them more engaging to readers, sponsors, and the media. Second, to reclaim narrative control. For the last few years, fan driven fandoms, especially from K pop, Latin, and indie acts, have been able to keep songs afloat through organized streaming and purchasing campaigns. Now, the window is shortened during which these fandoms can influence the chart. That limits fandom powered longevity, a system that Billboard and US labels can't directly monetize or predict, and recenters the chart around traditional radio and paid marketing cycles, which are easier for labels to control. Number three, to align with streaming platform behaviors. Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube's recommendation algorithms prioritize recency. Billboard's adjustment mirrors this life cycle. It rewards early surges and penalizes lower organic climbs, which disproportionately benefits major label acts with heavy launch budgets. Fourth, to boost perceived new hits volume. Advertisers, playlist curators, and media buyers rely on Billboard data to decide what's hot. If too many old titles stay on the chart, the pipeline of new hits shrinks. And that's bad for everyone selling ads, syncs, and radio rotation. And the quiet part. It's about protecting label economics. When catalog and fandom driven acts dominate charts for months, they don't generate new licensing fees or promotional budgets. Labels prefer a fast churn, more debuts, more campaigns, more marketing spend. The new rules help force that cycle, keeping the market in motion and label revenue tied to new releases. Universal moves creator marketing in house. Universal Music Group has officially entered the influencer economy, not as a client, but as a platform owner. The company recently launched House of Carmen, its own creator marketing app that directly connects influencers to UMG's roster of artists and brands. At first glance, it looks like just another campaign platform, but its real purpose is far more strategic. For decades, media coverage shaped music narratives, which acts mattered, which albums were more important, and who got written into pop culture. That power has shifted. Creators and influencers are now the new journalists and marketers. They can make or break a release, set the tone of public discourse, and push fan conversations in real time. And through House of Carmen, UMG is effectively paying the new journalists directly. And even better, everything happens in their system. They can track engagement without ever having to leave their ecosystem. Everything from payout to analytics, they have full visibility and control. It's an elegant form of media consolidation disguised as creator empowerment. UMG can manufacture public sentiment through paid creator networks that appear grassroots. If you are a foreign act signed in Universal, you are guaranteed exposure within a well funded ecosystem. On the other hand, access is now gated by Universal's platform. They will continue to favor who they want to favor. Warner's full stack label.
I mean, okay, that's fine, but as a foreign act, you can find the influencers that are not sponsored or not part of this program that can push your content the same way. That probably is going to charge you less. I don't really understand why is that problematic. You always need people to push you. That's just part how the business works. Like back in the day, you had magazines writing articles about you. Now, rightfully so, it's influencers because let's be real, people consume TikToks. It's just
I guess
the form of marketing.
I would see like it being like the complaints of the rates probably these influencers were probably charged because they're operating like a major label. They don't operate like small time. They ask for like big amounts for promotion.
Find smaller influencers, what you can afford. That's the beauty of it. There's influencers with different subscriber counts.
What I noticed is that for the smaller influencers, what they do is like, oh, here's a free album, and then promote like in exchange. Like it's like there's not like a proper exchange in terms of what we're trading for work. It seems like what they're complaining can be on the other side of the influencers too as well. They don't feel like their services are appropriately being compensated for, or not getting to the major markets.
No, but there's different levels of influencers. The ones you talk about that do albums for free, it's like, a couple thousand, but there's the ones that mid-size influencers with like 50,000. You can buy those because I'm sure, the ones with the millions, they're going to be part of UMG. Fine. But there's, the 50, 60, 100,000, those might not be employed by the UMG. So you can pay them to do your influencing. Like you can find it. There's thousands, if not millions of influencers, probably millions, honestly, at this point. You can find an influencer that can do your promotion too. So it's like, what are we complaining about?
Maybe it's finding like I don't know. Maybe they're complaining also that maybe the genre, who they are, who they represent, their audience is not worth being magnified or being marketed. I can see that happening for like example, for the Philippines. Like there's a lot of talented artists, musicians there.
No, but like
And for
from the
them to
influencer
find-
perspective, you're not gonna decline that money. You're gonna promote them, like unless you like.
Who like decline?
No, like okay. So for example, you talk about Philippines. Let's take SB19, right? They're a big group in the Philippines. Not really a big group here. They,
They're not gonna pay someone here in the West.
but if
for
they
marketing.
want to push, they have to. There's, they have to promote. So you have to pay promoters. So you
I think
pay.
what we've seen is that probably they go for people who will do it for free.
That's their problem. Like this is a big money industry. Like of course. So what is the complaint? Oh, life is not fair. Some people that have money, they pay money to get they should promote it.
Because for
Welcome
example,
to life.
Zero Base One, they hired an American agency
Yeah,
promotion
exactly.
group. They paid them, and look what the people they find is like mostly people that are not that they asked to do it for free.
I mean, we could have sent them a response and say, okay, pay us $100 and we're gonna do a reaction. I mean, we were gonna do it either way, but we could have taken a stand and said we're not gonna do it unless you pay us.
So, but think about it in that perspective. But you're on the other foot. Like I paid for an American company
Yeah.
to promote my group Zero Base
Yeah.
One, and they don't even. I know we didn't receive any money for that because we did a genuine review, but it's not like they paid for it either.
No, but
So they didn't pay us, but Zero Base One probably paid that American.
right, but we could have negotiated if we wanted to, and it would have said, of course, they probably would have said no, and we would have said, okay, cool, then we won't react. So, I mean,
And just wondering, like, okay, the actual service is like probably in the West, they're probably kind of taking advantage of because they're not familiar here. So when it comes to promotion, they can find and pay someone here, but not get the services like someone from here domestically would get.
I understand it, but like that's
Because
life.
I'm just trying to
Those-
understand their perspective in the sense of saying that, they're not getting marketing here. I would say, argue the same thing too. Would you say that Western music is marketed there? I don't think so. I think it's
No.
taken and then brought over there with their own musicians to put out
Yeah,
that
I don't
sound.
think anybody has
So I
markets
do
in
think
there.
it goes both ways. It's just complaining what perspective you're on.
Theses. Warner Music Group CEO Robert
Like, if
Kenson.
anything, I think because UMG is kind of like the biggest giant, right? It's making the switch to influencers. It's better for the smaller international artists because
It's harder. I feel like there's
no, but
the most popular influencers are from the West. Of course,
but they
there's
couldn't even afford the most popular. That's not even
but
a
of course there's
question.
others around the world. It's just you saw what happened when TikTok was there. The other countries were like, where
Okay,
are the Americans?
what
Bring back
I'm
the Americans
saying,
on this app
Rochelle,
so
is
we act up.
if UMG back in the day, let's say, there used to be the bloggers, the magazine, online magazine writers. Before that was actual magazine writers. There's only so few of them because it was there wasn't that many. UMG owned them all. So as a foreign act, foreign label, you wouldn't even break into because the doors would be just closed. They would say, "Oh no, sorry, we
Same
only
thing with
work with
the
UMG."
influencer PR list.
My God, Rachel, as I just told you, there's shitload of influence. You can find one. Hire us then. I'll work for you, Hype, or SM Town, whoever. I'll do your promotions. Like, come on, you can find someone. Like, what?
Of course you
That's
can,
what I'm
but
saying.
you
With
don't
the
want mid to lower
well,
tier.
if that's who you can afford, that's what you
you
get.
of
Like
course.
with the back in the day with the bloggers, there's only so many of them. If all
Of
of them
course.
work with Americans, exclusive contracts, the door is just closed. Point
I
blank.
also
Period.
think it's also ego too as well because you see, for example, Hybe has these connections to get into these media platforms that are well known here. The others, they're breaking into like the lower grade ones, and and it's like so it's an ego thing. They want to be on the
Well,
bigger major one, like the Jimmy
but they don't
Kimmels.
have the money, so it is what it is. I mean, then you have to start with the smaller ones and hopefully you hit it. That's just how it is.
Do you think Hype tell Jimmy Kimmel and the pretty much the media platforms just take us primarily?
No, they don't have that pull. And as we saw, there was twice on Jimmy Kimmel, so that's not the case.
So
No, because
it's
I'm
a
wondering because BTS had a lot of appearances there individually.
Yeah, but no, BTS definitely have
They
that
seem to have
connect.
a great relationship.
They have the relationship, yeah,
So I'm
but
curious to how that relationship formulated because then that can be okay, set the tone. See, no, it is possible to get a relationship to get into the marketing
yeah,
engine here.
it is.
saying the quiet part out loud. Major labels need to look more like IP studios. Think Marvel for music, monetizing characters, stories, and worlds across formats and services, including AI native revenue lines. They need to create IPs, initially based on the artists, and then develop independently so that they can continue to earn without the direct involvement of the artists. And you know who is set up
She
like that?
she made that case
Hype.
last time,
They have mastered the IP economy, creation of
but I just
characters,
don't see it.
assets, designs, merch. Now, the characters and the narratives, characters, games that were initially attached to BTS, developed around their characters, are now independent, forging partnerships and getting licensed without the direct involvement of
I see how
BTS.
they did that
And
in
the US
sports too
majors
as
adopting
well
that
when
playbook
creating
means
like video games merch for the players and whatnot. But the players I don't think they have their likeness or do they keep maintain their likeness?
So the current players of the NBA, I believe, don't quote me on this, but that's how I think it works. The current players with the NBA, they don't get nothing because it's part of the contract. The players that have retired those video games, they have to get buy their likeness. So, for example,
Oh.
in the video game, there's no Charles Barkley. He never sold his. Or well, I think he wanted
Oh
200 million for it.
really?
Yeah, they didn't give it to him.
Wow.
Reggie Miller, I believe, is not in the game as well. Couple guys, they just refused to. Not the refuse. They wanted more money, and they wouldn't budge. So they're not in the game.
they'll compete using the Korean playbook.
Now, might be in by now. This was when I used to play like 4 years ago.
Labels versus AI. from fighting to licensing. After
What's
2023's
interesting, I
viral
believe
AI
the individual, the artists, they have their IP, they own their likeness, no? Or does Hype
I
own it?
I think Hybe, the label owns because they're
Oh,
under contract. I think the ones that
oh.
have like this, when the 7 years pass and they don't renew, I think that's when you own your likeness. But up until that point, I think the label owns it.
break and the weekend incident, which I think was titled Heart on My Sleeve, many leaned into takedowns. But now, they're moving into structured licensing and model training deals. Realizing they can't stop it, they decided it's just better to monetize AI output without ceding artistic integrity. Practically, it's a shift from a whack a mole to if you can stop it, standardize and charge it.
I mean, that's exactly what happened with Spotify and why Spotify came around. Because before Spotify, it was essentially torrenting, LimeWire, download the songs, and it became a game of whack-a-mole. Because people just stopped paying for music. Well, not everybody, of course, some people bought, but a good chunk of people, they just wouldn't, download it for free illegally. And it became a game of whack-a-mole, like, who you whack. And then streaming services, I believe Napster was the first one to came around to kind of offer you for some sort of fee to listen to music, with small fee without like cheaper than buying it, hundreds of albums. It's the same thing we're seeing here probably, but that's how it is. And yeah,
The West still matters, but the center is shifting. For all the disruptions, the Western market still holds enormous weight. Its desirability has always been tied to its size. The US alone remains the largest music market in the world, and charting here still carries cultural and commercial prestige. But what's fueling this new global wave is partly the freshness. K pop, Latin, and Asian acts are thriving because they're offering something new, something Western pop hasn't delivered in a long time. New sounds, new aesthetics, a sense of discovery. And even when music fuses Western elements, it comes with different textures, linguistic nuance, choreography, storytelling, and emotion that feel less calculated and more alive. That's what audiences are responding to. Instead of engaging with that creative shift, Western institutions are focusing on containment, tightening chart systems, privatizing creator networks, and internalizing marketing to keep power centralized. The emphasis has shifted from content to control, from experimentation to efficiency. But culture doesn't grow through control, it grows through collaboration, influence, openness. These policies may make it harder for foreign acts to gain mainstream media coverage or chart access in the short term, but they won't stop their rise. The conversation has already moved elsewhere to social media. Soon enough, it's going to be the metaverse. Third spaces, creator platforms where algorithms and communities, not gatekeepers, decide what's worth hearing. And in that environment, the same strategies that once made BTS, Bad Bunny, and Peso Pluma global can and will continue to thrive. The music industry may be shrinking in value, but creatively, the world is expanding. These policies may make it harder for foreign acts to get mainstream coverage or even access the chart in the short term, but I definitely do not think it's going to stop them from gaining ground in the US, from becoming more popular and selling more.
I think she feels like overall like, oh, the West is really targeting the foreign acts, the K-pop acts. It's not really about them. I don't think the West cares that much about them. As I said, this whole Billboard thing is about Teddy Swims. Really, it's not about. It's like they do what they want to do now. The foreign acts, K-pop acts, P-pop, they either get with the program or get left behind. It just is what it is.
It reminds me similar of like in basketball when there was like a whole commotion of having European players come over to play in the American teams, and
Fair
there's like
enough,
some
yeah.
sort of like one or two come from Europe to come play in the States, and it creates a whole commotion. Like they're excluded, but no, they get highlighted because there's so few of them. It's just the beef between that is not isolated only in the music industry. I think wherever you go in an industry, if you're the minority there, and you seem to be like a disruptor, because one, you stand out in the sense there's not many of you, and you're also generating numbers too in a different way, which is goes against what has traditionally happened in the States. It's gonna create, a lot of eyes on it, and people are going to have to adjust to that because
Yeah.
that impacts the company and the environment. And I think a company has a right to preserve itself in a sense, But I don't think it's just particularly because it's a foreigner. I just think change just happened and disrupts the industry. So the industry, they don't want to tank or lose their status, so they have to
Yeah, they have to
implement some
adjust.
policies or some strategies to maintain their status
Yeah.
too at the end of the day. Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord, and as always, share as much kindness as possible.